After a long and stressful day at work, you are standing in one of the grocery stores. Now that you have finished your purchases, and you are waiting for your turn to pay the bill, you are falling on 2 bars of chocolate. It is very tempting, but you decided 2 weeks ago to stop eating sweets and all forms of sugar. For a week and 1 bar didn't hurt. It's just a small bonus. Let me take it and then stop. Roy Baumeister, a leading researcher in the field of willpower, says there are 2 proven factors for success in life: intelligence and willpower. While the former is mostly stable, the latter is subject to change. Significantly, he also states that most of the major problems in life are alcoholism, drug addiction, procrastination, lack of exercise, poor diet, form of anger, and general lack of achievement in life. Tolerance and spirit about the lack of self-control, which is willpower. She is a psychologist and a teacher at the Washington congregations. In fact, this book is summarized first. The subject in itself is interesting. Secondly, the writer draws on a lot of scientific studies and research. The book contains a lot of scientific and medical information that I did not focus on very much in the summary to avoid reading. I focused on the aspects that I thought it is important, like things that help in strengthening willpower and the reasons for losing our ability to control. Hello dear followers, this is Saeed Weld Mohammed from AudioTap channel. First, I have a small request from you. Please tell us what books or types of books you tend to see on the channel. Let's go back to the summary. Why willpower? A task? Willpower is what gives you the power to control your life, including your feelings, interests, money, health, relationships, and career. This is why improving your willpower level is a must. If you are having difficulty with your willpower, you are not alone. The American Psychological Association says that most Americans say that they do not achieve their long or short-term goals because of their low level of willpower. Willpower is very important in our lives, but the important question is, how do we strengthen it? First, if you don't know what makes you fail, how are you going to avoid it? The author guarantees that the best and most effective way to improve self-control, which is at the same time willpower. The author uses all the best in her book for the same meaning. The best way, as we used to say, is to understand the reason for losing control in the first place. Most people assume they have more willpower than they really do. These are the ones who have. And they average higher failures in times of weirdness. Ask any smoker. He'll tell you he can quit smoking all he wants, but he just doesn't want to. But the truth is, he can never resist the temptation of a cigarette. He thinks. Smokers this way because they are not aware of the failure and what causes it. He wasn't aware of their turning point. That's why you need to know more about yourself. A lot of people assume that not giving in to temptation is what willpower means, but it's more complicated, just the author. Willpower is divided into 3 parts in your brain, or in the prefrontal cortex of your brain, and I'll tell you in a moment about their relationship to willpower. I want, and anyone who wants to increase their willpower should fully understand the 3 parts. 1 will help you do what is not fun but important. What habit should I do every day to reach my goals I want? It is what you use when you resist temptation. What habit is detrimental to my health, happiness, and my work more than anything? I want the strength to remember your long-term goals when you need them most. What is my goal? When all 3 conflict with each other, you end up making the wrong choices. Now let's look at the part of the brain responsible for willpower, the prefrontal cortex. The left side deals with I will, the right side deals with I won't, and the lower middle section keeps a record of long-term goals and desires. The faster and more efficient each zone functions, the more reliable your willpower will be. In order to improve your willpower, you have to fully understand yourself and your actions, which is known as self-awareness. In many situations, your self-awareness can help you anticipate the outcome and how you feel about the problem. This can help you make the right decisions. When you are going through situations that require willpower, slow down and think twice before making a decision. When your mind is preoccupied with many thoughts, your mind is likely to push you to make an overwhelming decision, that is, to give in to constant temptations and impulses. The author suggests that you desire yourself for a week and indicates what you make a corresponding conscious decision when you give in to your impulses. And on the exercises that take the stress away, she says it was a bit difficult at first, but it gets easier the more you do and pour it out. To develop self-control and self-awareness, you need to think of self-control as if it were a muscle you need to stretch and train to make it stronger. Your self-control will become exhausted and drained if you use it a lot. If you start using a lot of willpower since the early morning, you are likely to find yourself depleted of your willpower by noon. That is why you should organize your day in a more efficient way as you limit your temptations in the afternoon while your self-control is added. For example, if you use your willpower to get up early, then for sports, then for some decisions at work, the writer's party, you will not be able to resist the shape board that is in the grocery store, as we said in the question. Then you have to tame yourself so that things like getting up early and exercising become a daily habit that does not consume your willpower stock. The writer mentions things that may not seem to have anything to do with willpower, but they negatively affect our ability to self-control, such as lack of sleep, stress and tension, poor diet and lack of exercise. It means that when you do a great job with your healthy diet, you convince yourself that you can get a little reward at the end of the day. Here you fall into the trap of failure. In order not to lose sight of the right path, you have to remain consistent. Check your decisions throughout the day. Bad decisions always mention why you value what you do. If it's worth it, remind yourself to always overcome temptation, and Straits Clee advises you not to always trust your own brain. The problem with the brain is its reward system and how it tricks you into thinking you're doing the thing that makes you happy. Let's understand this more. Let's talk a little bit about dopamine. Once the brain detects something that can be a great reward, it releases the hormone dopamine. Although dopamine doesn't make you happy, it fills you with curiosity and excitement. Your brain confuses this with true happiness. When this response occurs, it will directly control your thinking and make you think you want and need this supposedly great reward now more than anything else in the world. Dopamine is also something that has been shown to be addictive, so it is essential to know and understand dopamine triggers to avoid and control them. The promise of reward does not equal happiness. When we constantly respond to the dopamine promise of reward, we fail to self-control, and in the end, we do not even enjoy instant gratification. After it was one piece of sweet that was enough to make us happy, it barely moved our feelings. We needed 2 pieces, then 3 pieces, and so addiction begins. When we want to reach the willpower to work towards long-term goals, we need a state of mind. Positivity, after all, it takes a certain amount of optimism to be willing to focus on the future, but it is impossible to remain optimistic all the time, so in times of stress we find ourselves giving up in the end. Our brains are always designed to cheer us up when we are dealing with a low mood. That's why we go into reward-seeking mode. The Psychological Association asserts that the most courageous ways to deal with stress are eating, TV, gaming, video, shopping, and the internet, all of which are associated with exactly the rewards in our brains. It will take your mind away from real stressful problems, says the author. Instead, try activities such as sports, meditation, social visits, or reading. These activities are linked to the actual happiness hormones in your brain, serotonin and oxytocin. Much more useful than momentary reward, though, you're still human, and if you fail to resist, it's imperative that you stand up, forgive yourself, and move on. A principal economists call the discount of delay attraction, but you can turn the equation around and make it work in your favor. Use a time delay to your advantage when you start thinking your work is sloppy and maybe you should switch to TikTok. Stop. Set a timer for 10 minutes and make yourself wait. Don't play TikTok for 10 minutes during that time. Remember your long-term goals and why they're important to you. When you rule out instant gratification, the thing you crave seems less attractive. Brain imaging studies show that when we imagine ourselves in the future, we use a different area of the brain than we use to think about our present selves. The area of our future self is the same area we use to think about others. In other words, we see ourselves in the future as a person who is far from who we are now, so why would anyone invest their energies in a stranger? It is no wonder that we focus more on satisfying ourselves now and are more concerned with instant gratification and satisfying fleeting impulses. The author says that you must strengthen your relationships with yourself in the future to enhance your willpower. If you make a close connection between who you are now and who you will be later, you will be more willing to avoid short-term impulses and work in order to be the best version of yourself. You will intervene more, eat more, take better care of your health, and invest in long-term relationships. Willpower is contagious. Do you notice that whenever someone yawns in front of you, you will do the same? Likely to do the same. A 2010 report from the U.S. National Bureau of Economic Research showed that one low-fitness Air Force Academy cadet and a group of freshmen can lower the fitness levels of the entire group. The human brain has secondary neurons that help us develop empathy for this. The reason when someone cuts their finger we automatically fall back is because we understand the pain they're going through. From here, one study chronicles what happens in the brain of a smoker when he watches actors in movies smoking cigarettes. The areas of the brain that control hand movements light up. The brain actually prepares the hands to pull out a cigarette and light it. Studies also show that gamblers will bet more money after seeing someone else win, and most of us will spend more money when shopping with others. If you give in to impulses regularly, ask yourself if you are imitating the people around you. Knowing the people you spend a lot of time with and noticing their habits is very important. Does your friend invite you out and do a sporting activity, or does he invite you to play video games at home? It's important to surround yourself with positive people with a lot of self-control. You'll probably get some of that. And remember, the people you love most exert the most influence. Why does denial backfire? Willpower does a good job of judging our outward actions, but it is completely useless when applied to our inner world of thoughts and feelings. Once we try to get something out of our minds, we think about it more. When depressed people try to block out sad thoughts, they become even more depressed. When parents, for example, try not to worry about their children's behavior, they end up worrying more. The more you try to banish an idea, the stronger the likelihood that it will come back. This is a result of what psychologists call ironic rebound. The solution to this is to let your thoughts come and go freely, and they will stop hijacking your mind. If the brain is allowed to express a thought or feeling it was previously trying to suppress, it stops obsessing over it. Then paraphrase I won't to I will. If you arrive, tell yourself you'll never be late again. Maybe you should start telling yourself you'll always be 5 minutes early. Most bad habits and behaviors are an attempt to satisfy some type of need. Think of one of your bad behaviors and the need that you're satisfying instead of ban the behavior. See if you can come up with an alternative behavior that meets the same need. Try this 4-step plan the next time you think of something you crave but want to quit, and finally it doesn't fit into your goal. 1. Notice your cravings or thoughts about whatever tempts you. 2. Gently accept that craving or thought without trying to distract yourself from it or push yourself out of it. Let go of the craving or pay attention to it without trying to change or dismiss it. 3. I know cravings and thoughts come and go in your mind. You can't control them, but you can control whether you act on them or not. Hold tight to your bigger goal. Remember what you've committed to doing and why it matters to you. Finally, to make the most of this summary, pick a specific willpower challenge you'd like to take on and drop everything you've learned here on it. Alright guys, this is the end of this summary of the Willpower Instinct by Koeniger. I salute you.